So everybody, we are so lucky to have Kaloyan Yanchev that have agreed to come and talk to us and be part of the team for a couple of days. So first of all, a big thank you.
Thanks for having me.
I think you all have met him, so if you haven't, there is still one night to come and talk about his experience, because he has a wealth of experience when it comes to payments. Yesterday, Avinash and myself were just blown away in a 45-minute conversation of things to look for and cater for. So it has just been great for us. And so today, basically, during the discussion, we will touch upon his experience, specifically pain points for crypto platform when it comes to fiat headaches, and how he has been basically able to solve that. So, Kaloyan, before we actually get started, could you just quickly introduce yourself and maybe your background and what makes you so excited about payments?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the kind words first. It was great meeting you all, guys. It's a big pleasure. So I'm currently head of payments, payment methods and card issuing at Nexo, a big crypto operator, but I have spent more than 12 years already in the payment industry. I have been a finance manager for UK acquiring bank, head of global operation for another UK financial institution, also head of card issuing at Bitpanda, another crypto operator. So yeah, I love the payments world. It's fascinating, and to be honest, as I mentioned, I have been more than 10 years already, but I think the current times are the most excited. The digital trends in the payments are just, they provide such a great opportunities for a lot of companies.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think many of us have come to the payment industry due to the complexity it actually represents and so many pain points to solve and so much work to do. Before we jump into today's topic, which is fiat headaches and how to solve them, can you tell us about Nexo and the vision of the company?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So Nexo is the pioneer of crypto lending. What's crypto lending? It's basically crypto backed up fiat loans. So this is one of our main products. Another product is the Nexo brokerage and Nexo liquidity. So the Nexo vision is that crypto will be there. Crypto will be an important part of our lives, blockchain technology, and we know that crypto has been a means of investment back in the days, but nowadays we see this mass adoption of the crypto. People understand now, they see the value, they see the proposition, and we are sure that this adoption will continue, and we want to be part of it. We want to provide our consumers the means to use, to trade, to save in crypto and spend in crypto.
Thank you for that. And Nexo has been growing massively over the past few years with this view of really providing this full ecosystem around crypto, which is actually quite unique in terms of vision, but as well as execution, given the time space that you have spent on doing that. So the discussion right now is not going to be specifically around Nexo, but more about crypto platforms and the headaches that they are experiencing. So I would like to deep dive into why is fiat access so important for crypto platforms?
Yeah, fiat access is a crucial part of the crypto platform, because what is the main idea for all the crypto operators is this bridge between the fiat world and the cryptocurrencies. So this is crucial element, because all the crypto merchants, they need to access fiat so they can provide their services to the consumers. So this is a must element, and it's a huge part of the overall consumer experience.
Can you tell us a bit the experience of crypto platform in integrating fiat access?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so do you mean experience in the technical integration or the overall consumer experience?
More from an integration perspective, finding the providers, maybe the integration itself, the onboarding, all this cool stuff.
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, this is a very important element of the offering. It's a must for the crypto operator. So, they need to offer solutions to their consumer base in different countries. They need to have this localized approach because this is quite important. You don't want to give a Euro option to your US consumers, obviously. And in terms of integration, all these crypto operators, the integration is quite important in terms of speed, of how good the APIs are, because you need to have this unified ecosystem, this connected strategy for all your products, and the payments are a huge part of the consumer experience. You don't need to end up with a lot of integrations. You don't need to end up with these complex integrations that will kill your backlog because you have your core products that you need to focus. So this is a very important thing. The technical documentation that is provided is always evaluated. So we need to find at the crypto operators that I have been the API that will suit our needs, that will be best to be part of our ecosystem, that we can manage easily, integrate easily, and also take advantage of the additional services that this API can bring to us.
Thank you. And so talking about this whole experience and what's actually important to you, what keep crypto platforms up at night when it comes to fiat access?
Yeah, a lot of things, to be honest, a lot of things, in terms of payments, but I think probably it's the stability. So the most important thing is that when we end up with a partner, we hope that this partner will be there for us. I mean that you will process the transactions, and we will process the transaction in the way that they are cleared, and we have our consumers happy that they were able to deposit, no declines, the approval ratios are high, and so on. And this is the support and the proactiveness of the operators. This is quite important for us. So, of course, technical availability can't be like all the time. We know that these issues happen, but we expect that our partners will work to minimize these technical interruptions, and we won't face unhappy consumers. So this is the bottom line when it comes not only to payments, but the whole ecosystem. We want our consumers to be happy and to have a nice experience with the platform. And payments is like the entry point to the platform.
Yes. And it's also the entry point to mass adoption, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely, because, payments, as we see for other payment vehicles back in days like cards and stuff, the mass adoption is very important. If we do not find a way to facilitate this mass adoption, crypto world won't survive in the way that we want to survive. So we need to make sure that our platforms deliver this experience and this trust to our consumers that they need to believe in the world. And making a payment from fiat to crypto is an important part because you have your fiat money, so you don't want to end up being some kind of fraudulent transaction, something like this. So if the transaction is fast, if it's easy, they will trust you and they will probably use your other products as well.
Yeah. Yesterday we were actually discussing about a point that I found really interesting about your willingness to be proactive when it comes to payments delay. Can you tell us about a bit the importance around that?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very important thing. As I mentioned, in the end of the day, we want the transactions processed, right? So we want our consumers to go to the checkout to page or whatever, a means of deposit there, and the transaction will be processed. Of course, we see that there is some kind of technical problems and issues, and I personally have noticed that a lot of providers, they avoid, telling you, okay, we have these technical issues, we have a problem with our monitoring system, you experience like 1 hour of, let's say, no service or something like this. So we need to find out. And this is a big issue because then our consumers probably told us, okay, we tried to deposit, but the deposit is not going on. We need to investigate, we need to find out what is happening, which is the provider that is causing this issue, and probably we'll get a bad publicity on the social networks. And this is the worst thing that can happen because banks are like crypto operators. You need to build trust because you manage clients' funds. Trust is the most important thing. And when they try to deposit and when they see that nothing is happening, they are like, okay, probably this is a scam, they stole my money, why my money are not deposited in my account? So the operators, I think, should be proactive. They should say, okay, guys, you see this technical issue, you can manage it on our side, contact your consumers, or even switch to a backup provider so you don't feel interruption. And this creates this bond and this trust between the fiat ramp and the crypto operator.
Yeah, so I think it's a great point, and although not everything is currently possible because some systems are totally backdated and that type of notification are not always easy. There are definitely things that can be done by banking as a service or fiat as a service platforms to really enable this experience. So now taking a step back and jumping into our today's topic, which is our fiat headaches. I would like to understand what's, according to you, the biggest fiat headache for crypto platforms?
Yeah, probably there's a number of pillars that are huge headaches. First, it's always the reporting, So the reporting, in the end of the day, is checked by payments people, by accountants, So the reporting should be fitted for their needs. We need to make sure that all the transactions that are processed match our systems, match our records. Of course, the invoices are an important thing. It's all related to the payment. So the general reporting should be created in such a way that will suit the people that will use it. So the developers won't use the reporting, right? They won't go and check the transactions, what is going on. So the information that is provided, the more information in a better way, will help us identify, reconcile, and also deliver more volumes. Because if we understand what is going on, why this transaction is declined, what we see in terms of consumer, inability to make the transaction, will help us to deliver more transaction also to our fiat partner. So another thing is, of course, compliance. This is always an issue because currently we see that there is no unified crypto regime, right? So there is differences in the US, there is difference in the European countries. They all treat crypto assets or the digital assets in different way. So compliance is always a big issue. And we rely very much on our fiat partners to help us with this compliance, because they provide not only the payment processing, but also, let's say, compliance as a service. So they have the relationship with tier 1 banks, and they need to help us be compliant, utilize the relationship, and process for a longer period of time without interruptions. So this is the importance of all the fiat ramps to our needs. We are the bridge between the fiat and the crypto, giving the crypto, but the fiat ramps are the bridge between us and the traditional banks that ultimately, we need to be connected with.
I think that's music to the ear of the Fiat Republic team. Like the need for unified compliance standards is definitely something that for us is absolutely like part of our vision, and actually probably the number one thing of our vision is to actually bring together crypto platforms and get this unified standard to actually provide this better access to tier 1 banking.
Absolutely. A lot of people in the crypto space, they are against regulation. Me personally, I'm not, because I think this is the only way for the mass adoption. We need regulation. We need regulation that is more or less unified. Because with the traditional financial institutions, a financial license from the UK, EMI from the UK, and EMI from Europe, it's more or less the same thing. So you need how to handle AML, you need what things you need to tackle. So we need to have this with crypto as well.
Yeah. And so, like you were mentioning, of course, like the need for a unified compliance standard. And earlier in the conversation, we were talking also about the trust, building the trust with the banks. What do you think is also required to actually like have good relationships with banking partners?
Yeah, I think this step in terms of regulation is a huge thing, because if the banks know, okay, we have this regulation, this regime that the crypto platform should follow, and let's say if a crypto platform applies for this regulation or meets all the requirements, the banks will be happy with this. They will know, okay, they have the KYC procedures in place, they have the AML procedures to follow, they track their performance, they know what they need to do. So we will be, let's say, relaxed, but in a good way when we deal with them, because they did their homework and they can perform. This is with the EMI license. Why you go for EMI license? Because this is a proof, like an education, proof that you know what you're doing, that you did your homework.
Yeah, that's definitely like very important in our also in our mind to be regulation first, and being able to have this credibility to actually talk to banks and also in the name of our crypto platforms members. I would like to actually touch upon. So we have talked about what is needed for a good relationship with banks, but I would love to understand what has been the industry experience so far of dealing with banks? Where are the hurdles, like in a conversation with a transaction banker?
Yeah, so this is where I'm not just saying this because we are now discussing Fiat Republic as well, but this is where, for example, a company like Fiat Republic can help a lot because the banks, the traditional banks, they do not always understand the crypto. It's a normal thing. So let's say, just illustrating, I have been a banker for 30 years dealing with traditional financial instruments. Probably crypto is not my first priority, and also probably I'm not passionate about crypto, right? So this is where a company like Fiat Republic, where its focus on crypto is huge. They can help and go to the bank and say, okay, guys, we can tell you what is going on, we can illustrate, we can manage, you can rely on us as a partner, and you don't need to go such a deep dive into the crypto world and their products. Because this is I think the biggest hurdle, the biggest issue is the bank thinking on one side, okay, I need to be compliant, I need to be sure that my core business is not threatened by this crypto operator because we deem this as high risk. But we find issues understanding what exactly they are doing. So we need this middleman, that will help us. Okay, the banks will know, okay, Fiat Republic is experienced, they deal with crypto operators, so they know what they are doing, so they can explain us the process, or we can rely on their experience to make sure that the crypto operator is doing, what should be done in terms of compliance.
Yeah. And so that is really like from one bank perspective. Now I would like to talk about managing multiple banking relationships and integrations.
Yeah, this is a tough thing because we try to avoid this. You can't really avoid multiple integrations and multiple relationships. But let's say if you can do one integration and if you can have access to different regions, especially because different integrations are mostly needed for different regions. You need integration and operator for a way to access US. You need a way to access Europe and for example, Asia. If you can have one integration or just 2 or 3 integrations that can support all your needs, this is like a huge win. Because imagine explaining these compliance issues to one bank. You need to explain to second bank, third bank, fifth banks. And of course, this creates overheads, it's time consuming. And of course, you create additional bottlenecks. So it doesn't matter how you're sure about your partner. Of course, you need to think about also as a bottleneck, because if you have 5 integrations and you need to manage all these 5 integrations, probably 3 of them won't work as expected. If you have one that is working very well, it means that you can focus more, you can have sessions and things, you can understand what is going on. So of course, less integrations is better.
And so you're mentioning, okay, like ideally you have like one, 2, 3 integration, really maximum, even globally. So that's like the dream. How do you think about selecting Fiat access providers? Like, what are the key points that make you say, yes, I want to work with this company versus another company?
Yeah, of course, it's the general product. I mean, in technical perspective, this means API, how many options are available, the general integrations that will have, the reporting that we will receive, commercial things. Of course, pricing is very important. In the end of the day, we all aim for profit, so the commercial aspect is quietly important. Of course, things like settlement delays, available currencies. There are many factors, but let's say the most important is the product in general, the compliance framework. Okay, how we can, what kind of agreement we can have with this Fiat RAM? Do they support our current, let's say, company structure, the onboarding process? What kind of documentation they will need? Of course, we know that there are certain minimum, or let's say a good amount of documents that should be provided. But let's say if this boarding process is way too complex, of course we don't want to waste many months in just onboarding with an operator. And offering localized payment options is of huge importance. People these days, they just do not use Visa or MasterCard that much. They want to have local options like Zofort in Germany, ACH in the US, WeChat in China. They prefer to see a payment method that they trust and they know how to use it. So if we can offer local payment in local currency, of course the approval ratio and the adoption ratio will be higher.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now jumping into global expansion, because you are talking about like all these different geography, Asia. I believe Nexo is also expanding quite fast, and it's actually like the strategy of many crypto platforms. What are the Fiat headaches when expanding globally?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the compliance framework first and many integrations. This is one of the biggest problems, is that you need to do and perform many integrations. You need a provider for US, you need a provider for Asia, you need to manage all these providers. And also, offering these all local options. When you have many providers, you need many settlements, a lot of reconciliation that is going on. Of course, it's far more easier to reconcile a single provider with single reporting than to reconcile 5, 6. So this means more people involved in the process, more time that you need to invest, and of course, with every provider, you need to go and understand what's going on in terms of approval ratios, in terms of what's going on with this transaction, why this transaction timed out, why this transaction is blocked. So if you have 6, 7 providers, you need to invest a lot of time. If we can have 2 or 3 providers that can offer a global reach, that will be a win not only for my current company, but for every company that wants to take payments.
That's definitely, where we are seeing aussi potential added value. Before actually jumping in a question around tier 1 banking, I would like to deep dive a little bit into payments operation, because you just started going into it, but things that are actually under the hood that people don't see is the complexity of managing payments operation and treasury operations when you're a crypto platform in a context of plenty different providers, but also in a context where sometimes you receive funds you're not supposed to receive and you need to send back, and all the manual work that goes behind it. Can you tell us from your experience what are the most common pains for crypto platforms when it comes to payments and treasury operations, except reporting, because we discussed that.
For treasury operations, I need to add fraud here. It's quite important thing, and fraud is a huge pain for all the crypto operators. I'll put in the treasury operations because this is part of reconciliation process. It means direct loss for the crypto operators, and also it's a big headache because if you have many operators, you probably have one risk too, right? To manage all these things, one financial tool. So tailoring these two to these operators is a huge problem. So you kill your approval ratio, probably you kill some transactions that are good and stuff, and this will affect the reconciliation process, the payment operations, understanding of the payments team, what is going on, if this transaction is okay, if it's not okay, different fee structures as well. It doesn't matter if we sign an agreement with the operator, we need to check that the fees are correct, because, I don't think that mistakes are intentional in 99% of the cases, but mistakes happen, So we need to make sure, okay, the invoice that we are paying is actually what we have spent, right? And if you have 10 invoices with 10 different fee structures, it's a big overhead for our accounting team, for our payments team, for the general reconciliation and stuff. And it can lead to more fraudulent transactions because we can't really invest that much time to tailor our solution to the needs of all these operators, because they're just this, the data is transmitted in a different way, the APIs are different, so the limits of the transactions probably are different, so the tool won't fit with all these operators, and you can't add really 4 or 5 risk tools, because first it's expensive, and second there is not enough people to manage all these tools. So even if you can afford the people, you just can't find the people.
And you don't want to manage the people also,
so. More or less.
No, that makes sense. Earlier we were talking about the importance of local payment rails to actually go into new countries and actually provide access to the people of those countries, the way they actually trust it and they want it. However, there is always the question of tier 1 banking and why it is important and why actually crypto platform need it. Can you elaborate a little bit where you see the use of such banking rails?
Yeah, of course, we mentioned the consumers, the trust is very important. Of course, for us as a business, the trust is also very important. So a tier 1 bank delivers this trust to us, it's very important. Also brings this certainty in the business that we are doing okay, that we will probably have the liquidity, that the bank can support us if they understand the business, if they see that our performance is well, probably they can support us in different endeavors as well. So it's like driving a better car, Probably if you have, I don't want to just illustrate, for example, if you have a Dacia, okay, you can go from point A to B, but if you have something like, I don't know, BMW, it will be a more pleasant ride. So this is why for all the businesses, access to liquidity, access to better banking providers, access to their knowledge and understanding is crucial. And if we can manage the compliance in a way that won't hurt us, with these tier one banks, this is like a total win scenario for a crypto operator. And liquidity is a huge part of the crypto operators, because it's not just taking a payment out of a user and giving him one Bitcoin, whatever. All the crypto platforms are connected, like in the FX world, so they need liquidity, and we need liquidity for our fiat ones. We need liquidity for the brokerage. So tier one banks can support us in a better way, especially in terms of liquidity.
Yeah, that's really interesting, actually. Like, that's again something that we don't see from a front user or front end perspective or user perspective. Talking about users, like, can we summarize, like in very simple words, what users are waiting or are expecting from a fiat in, fiat out experience?
Yeah, so the users these days, they want instant payments. They want easy payments, they want localized approach, they want to see the payment method that is relevant to their needs. For example, Brazil Boleto. If you see Boleto, you ultimately see, okay, I trust this partner, they know what they're doing, they have this approach to us. So they want fast payments, almost instant. This is very important, because these days people, they don't want to wait. And this is why it's very important, because most of the people, let's see, they saw something. For example, they want to trade Bitcoin now. This is why they are depositing. They don't want to trade Bitcoin in 2 weeks, right? Or they saw the product that they like, so let's say they want to stake, and they want to stake now, right? And this also, if the payment is instant or nearly instant, it creates this trust, because you see your money, transferred, you can use them, so the consumers are happy. So I think the biggest thing these days with all payments, all companies, is if the payments can be instant, close to instant, and very fast, and localized. Local approach, instant payments. I think this is what defines the consumer experience these days.
Are there any other pain points that they are experiencing?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I mentioned well, this is a pain point as well. If we reverse it, if the user needs to wait 3 days for a payment, probably won't work for them. They'll start complaining, they'll start contacting our customer support, asking what is going on, and this creates, of course, overhead and additional work for us. We need to support them. Another pain point is, let's say, they do not see local payments, local currency. If you just display US dollars to people in Brazil or Argentina, they do not understand the FX rate. It's hard for them. Okay, is this amount the right amount that I'm depositing, and stuff. So probably they will abandon the transaction, and then this is a pain point for us as well. So also they need to find easy way to navigate through the application to be part, and this is why the technical integration is quite important. So we have this let's say vision of our application, and we need the right API from our partners that can match our vision for consumer experience.
It's actually quite interesting to see how actually fiat in, fiat out, and the experience you provide to your users can become a competitive advantage over other platforms.
Yeah, this is one of the most important aspects, are the payouts. Because if you do not manage your payouts properly, if you do not pay out your consumers in a timely manner, this will create a lot of issues, because users are very sensitive about their payouts, especially. And if they have winnings, if they have some earnings, they want to use them, they want to see them in their bank account. If you delay payouts, like we saw what is going on with Celsius, this is what caused their biggest headache, is delayed payouts. So it's like when you're going to a bank and you say, okay, I want to withdraw money, and they tell you, okay, come tomorrow, and you'll be, what is going on in the bank? Probably it's going bankrupt. This is with the crypto, and the crypto is even more important, because the current trust is not at such a high level. So you need to perform payouts 24/7. You need to have different options for paying out your consumers. They need to be cost effective, of course, and also they should be, in terms of how instant they are, they should be very fast. Let's put it this way.
So jumping from competition to cooperation, and like the need for cooperation to actually have a weight with regulators and come from this common standard of compliance, but also regulation to eventually bring crypto to the masses. How do you see that happening? Like, what is required for crypto platforms to actually unite and have this single voice and wait with regulators and banks and everybody?
Yeah, my personal view here is that they need to see what happened in the past. The banks already showed how things are done. They united at some point. They aim for us a regulation that suits their needs, but it's okay in general. So the crypto merchants, they can't live on their own. The crypto adoption will be higher and higher. A lot of consumers will come and they will need to access crypto. They will need to use crypto probably on a daily basis. So the big operators, they need to find this common ground and sit together and say, okay, we need to have this framework that will work for us, that will lead us to a more mature product, and then we should have this united stand in front of the regulator. So we'll come and say, okay, we all think that this is the needed form of regulation, and they should find a way to understand that there won't be one single crypto operator, for sure. So, there is not a single bank. So there is a need for this consortium, let's say, between the crypto companies, that they can lobby in front of the regulators, that they can use for lobbying in front of the regulators.
Yeah, that's a great validation for the team, and I'm sure everybody is really happy and impressed. Just last question, really, and it's really about the bridge between Web 2 and Web 3, because earlier you mentioned we are the bridge between fiat and crypto, but in between we actually need the operators, and you just mentioned actually the need for a consortium. Can you tell us what's the shape of your ideal consortium? What topics are you tackling with other crypto platforms? What should be front of mind?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think probably it's the licensing. The unified licensing and some kind of license that, let's say, it's you don't need to go for a license in Germany, you don't need to go for a license in Italy. So let's say there is an European EMI license. This is the ultimate goal for me, for all these operators. And these licenses and regulations should be, let's say, matched to a level that if you have a European license, you know that you have covered the US requirements as well. So you're up to the standard. Like these days in the financial world, in the traditional financial world, let's say a company from Asia, let's say from Singapore, comes with their financial license to a European entity. Okay, it's not the European license, but they know that this license is also up to the European standards, right? So it's easier for you to onboard and to work with this entity. And in the crypto world, this is also very important because there will be operators in Asia, there will be operators in Europe, and these operators, they need to have a bridge between them, and they should know also for the needs of the crypto operator, okay, this other entity is also up to our high standards. They also manage their consumers in a way that they do not allow fraud, they do not allow money laundering, so we can easily work with them, we can offer them services, and we can be in a cooperation generally with them.
That's really actually interesting. It's something that we are seeing for the consortium. Of course, it's a way for a unified standard when it comes to compliance, but also to foster business relationships between approved or members of the consortiums, approved party, approved members. So that's really interesting to see that. It's actually you see a real need for that. Awesome, guys. We have finished the questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.